Alright, what is up guys? Today I'm going to be using these Beyblades as an example to explain one of the more complicated tournament formats on the WBO, which is Swiss format. Swiss format is a tournament format, with format being used in the sense that it is the way the tournament is organized, not like 0G format or Burst format, which describes the kind of Beyblades that can be used. The WBO uses it for large events, and while the official organizer's guide states that the lowest amount of players for a Swiss tournament is 17, the format works best with any number that is a power of 2, and for simplicity's sake, I'll be using 16 Beyblades for this example. So first, let's start with how the tournament's set up. So all the participants will be seeded, which determines, I guess, their chances of winning the tournament. It assigns a value to them based on their rank. So at the top you have the number 1 seed, and then all the way down to the bottom seed, which in this case would be number 16, and you have all the ones in between as well. To begin with, you pair the top seed against the bottom seed, and vice versa until you get to the 2 middle seeds, and then you record the winners of each match. So all of these 8 are 1-0, and these other 8 down here are 0-1. But this isn't like single elimination. They're not out of the tournament yet. They still have a few more guaranteed battles, which is why Swiss is a more widely used format than double elimination or single elimination, because it gives more of the participants a chance to keep battling, so they're not eliminated after just 1 or 2 battles. Alright, so like I just mentioned, the 16 original participants have all played their first match and have been divided into 2 groups, players who have 1 win and players who have 1 loss. To decide who battles who in the next round, you do the same thing as before, with having the top seeds play the bottom seeds, but only from within the same group. One of the rules of the Swiss format is that players should always be matched up to someone with an identical win-loss history as them. While this isn't always possible for tournaments with an odd number or a non-power of 2 number of participants, try and match up the players who have similar records just to create a more fair fight in those cases. So after all of the second round matchups have been assigned, you just play out the matches and record the results again. So after the second round, the participants have been divided again, but this time into 4 groups. Players who won both their matches, players who won the first match but lost the second, players who lost their first match and won their second, and finally players who have lost both matches. And once again, the matchmaking procedure continues, this time taking the top and bottom seeds from these 4 smaller groups, just like you did after the first round. After the matches have been decided, you just play out the third round matches just like you've played out the first round and second round matches. In this example, there are 16 participants, meaning that there's 4 rounds, so this is the final round. And as you can see, the players have been divided up once again, and this time, there's only 1 other player in the entire tournament that they could possibly be matched up against next, since only 1 other player shares the same match history as them. And just for the sake of time, I'm going to cut out the whole, I guess, matchup selection thing and just circle the winners of the 4th round. With the 4th round over, the Swiss stage of the tournament has been concluded, and now we just need to decide what players get to advance to the finals. In WBO Swiss events, this is the top 8. We can immediately choose 5 of the top 8 based on their records alone, as the 4-0 and 3-1 players have better records than anyone else in the tournament. An interesting thing to notice is that each of these players has their own unique match history at this point, and moreover, Quad Quetzalcoatl advances to the finals uncontested despite losing in the first round, which shows how Swiss can be a more forgiving format than single or double elimination. Now to decide the final 3 of the top 8, we need to look into several tiebreak methods, since all these 6 are tied with 2-2 records. First up, you check for any matches tied players have already played against one another, and whoever wins head to head has the advantage. In this example, both Zillion Zeus and Wild Wyvern have won head to head against Gigant Gaia and Kaiser Kirbyus respectively, so they would hold a tiebreak advantage over those two. However, that still isn't enough to decide who advances, so now we need to look at the second tiebreak method, Buckles. Buckles is a value that is assigned to each player after they've played all their Swiss matches, and is designed to measure strength of schedule. This value is calculated by adding together all the match wins of all the players' opponents, and then subtracting the highest and lowest value. Now that sounds kinda confusing, so let's take Zillion Zeus as an example. Its 4 opponents during the tournament were the 2-2 Dark Death Scyther, the 2-2 Gigant Gaia, the 3-1 Victory Valkyrie, and the 3-1 Storm Spriggan. After removing the highest and lowest records, so one of the 3-1s and one of the 2-2s, you add up the amount of wins from the remaining 2 opponents, giving Zeus a Buckles of 5. If you need another example, we can look at Kaiser Kirbyus as well. Its 4 opponents were the 2-2 Wild Wyvern, the 0-4 Rising Ragnarok, the 1-3 Obelisk Odin, and the 3-1 Quad Quetzalcoatl. So what you need to do is just subtract the highest and lowest records, so Quad Quetzalcoatl and Rising Ragnarok, and then add the remaining wins of the remaining 2 opponents together to get Kaiser Kirbyus Buckles of 3. If you're still confused, just feel free to rewind the video and rewatch those parts again until you understand it. But after that, you just use that same method to calculate the Buckles value for the other 4 participants tied at 2-2. After finding the Buckles of all the tied players, you have to compare the values among them. Since a higher Buckles means that the player faced stronger opponents during the tournament, that gives the player a tiebreak advantage. In that case, Zillion Zeus, Wild Wyvern, and Beast Behemoth all had the highest Buckles values, so they will advance to the finals. If there's still tied players after head-to-head and Buckles, they just have to play an unranked tiebreaker match with the winner advancing to the finals. And in the finals, it's single elimination with the finalists seeded 1 to 8 based on their performance in the Swiss stage of the tournament. So that's my explanation on the Swiss tournament format for WBO. Generally, we use the challenge bracket generator to run its tournaments, but in situations where that's not possible, it's important to know how to run one of these without challenge assistance. And I hope this helped you understand how it works because it is a pretty complicated tournament system. And I'll see you guys next time.